maybe they stole, not that it's right, maybe because they was hungry and they just wanted something to eat and they didn't know they didn't know any other place to go. You're not judging their why, their intent of their heart. You're judging the action, that it is clear that what you did was wrong. It was wrong, right? But it is God that judges the heart, right? Which is why he said there's one lawgiver who is able to save and destroy. Who are you to judge another man's servant? To judge another. Go to now, ye that say today or tomorrow, we will go to such a city and continue there a year and buy and sell and gain. Whereas you know not what you shall be on the morrow, for what is your life? You plan in 2025 and you planning you're going to get this big house. I'm going to get this car. I'm going to do this. But you're not planning your life with God. You're not planning how you're going to draw closer to him. When you don't even know if you're going to be here to fulfill half the stuff that you're trying to do. Like in the video clip. In the video clip, it basically said how God may have called you to be an evangelist and you out here with an accounting firm and he didn't tell you to do that, right? You might be out here, he telling you to go and do missionary work, but you out here, you trying to go over here and be a pastor. He might tell you, raise those children up in the fear and the admonition of the Lord. That is your assignment. And you said, but God, I want to be like this person. They traveling all over the world. They doing all this other stuff. I want to be like them. I want to be out there. I want to be a street evangelist. When your evangelism starts at home with your children, I've always been a huge believer of that. I've always been ridiculed for that mindset because I feel like your first ministry is at home. I truly believe that. I've always believed that, and I stand on that. Your first ministry is home because you're going to have to give an account to how you raise, because a lot of the children that are being raised nowadays, they're not even really being raised. They're not being taught. They're just living in the house, the parents working 2-3 jobs. And I lived that life. I know I lived that life, working 2-3 jobs, just trying to come up and it was a struggle, right? To still, and there's some things in my life I had to give up because I knew I always had this conscious awareness that I was raising up men and women that God was gonna use, right? I may have not known exactly how, to what degree, but I always had an awareness to know that that it was my responsibility, and I always held my head up high about that. And though people talked about me and thought, oh, you think your kid's better than everybody because I didn't allow them to do a lot of stuff. No, you can't spend a night at everybody's house. I'm sorry, you can't. No, you can't do that. You can't spend a night at their house because, and not because they're bad people or anything like that. It's because I was setting boundaries, because my boundaries was teaching them that I can't allow you. I was being a steward over my kids because I don't know, especially, my daughter had one friend, her father was an alcoholic, and the mother was an alcoholic, right? I'm not saying that they weren't good people. I'm sure they were pretty decent people, right? But they got mad at me because I said, no, Lay Preach cannot spend a night at your house. Well, why? Because you're alcoholics. You drink a lot, and I don't want my daughter to come to me 10 years later and say, she was touched by your husband or you for that fact. Oh, we would never do anything like that. How could you see? Well, our kids love each other. I did it. Yes, I do. I love you too. But I am a steward, a good steward. I may have not been a good steward over a lot of things, y'all. I'm be honest with y'all. I have not been a good steward over a lot of things. But one thing I'm going to be a good steward about, I'm going to be a good steward with them kids. You hear me? Hold on one second. So I've always been that way. My kids would get mad. Oh, you never let us spend the night. You never let us do this, because I knew enough. I may have not known everything, but I knew enough to know that the enemy was after my seed because of the attack, the things the warfare we were going on, that we were under. I knew the enemy was after my seed, and he couldn't get through. He couldn't get through me or their dad. He tried, but I knew he was after my seed. It's like I intuitively knew that. So I knew right then and there, we're not going to do that, right? So you don't know if you're going to live today or live tomorrow. So why are you planning your life? Why are you pulling out your 2025 board and you're praying for so that make sure that you are planning your life, that your top perspective is you're planning that whatever you do all to the glory of God. God, I want to run this business so that I can give glory to you. I want to do, I want to run. I want to be I want to help people with their taxes. Right now, this year, I've always done taxes to some degree, but this year I'm doing it professionally. So for those of you that need help, need your cash refund, make sure you go to ProverbsTaxSolutions.com. But everything that you do, you want to be able to give glory to God when you do it. I'm a biblical mindset coach. As I'm getting online and I'm talking to people about I'm not talking to you about stuff I don't know. I'm talking to you about things I've learned in my own life, right? I'm not an expert at anything. I'm an expert at going before God, right? And trusting God with every change that has taken place and continues to take place in my life, right? And I realized that tomorrow's not promised. I'm not spending my entire life planning for things that are in this world. I'm laying up my treasures in heaven, right? Where it can't be stolen. I done had some stuff stolen from me here on earth, right? I done had my pride stolen. I done had relationships stolen. I done had money stolen. I done had feelings stolen. I done had things. I can list things that was taken from me, right? But I realized that I'm not laying up my treasures on earth, right? Where moth and thieves can take it, right? I'm laying them up in heaven, right? Where it can't be taken and it can't be stolen, right? So he said, where you know not what tomorrow, what shall be on tomorrow, and what is your life? It is even a vapor that appear for a little time and then poof, vanish away. 2024, we've seen a lot of people plan their lives to do so many different things. And one day they was here, and then the next day they weren't. They entered into eternity, right? Either with God or without God. So as you're planning your life, as you're doing your goal writing, don't forget God. Don't forget God. For what that you ought to say, if the Lord will, we shall live and do this and do that. So your life should be, when it comes to God, you should be sure, I want my life to be like this, God. I want my life to be an example of your grace and your glory and honor. And even though I want to do this, he said that we ought to say, if the Lord will. If the Lord will, we shall live and do this and do that. If the Lord will, he will make me a prosperous business owner in this area or in that area. If the Lord will, he will allow me to give him glory. That is the mindset that we should have, because our life is but a vapor. Doesn't mean that you can't stand on the promises of God. Don't mean you can't remind him of his word and his promises. But your mindset should be, your life is but a vapor. Poof. You can be here today and gone tomorrow. There are people that have planned their entire life, but have not and have failed to plan their relationship, their time with their day when they're going to meet the Lord. They failed to plan that and slipped into eternity, right? To meet a God they did not know, or that they thought they knew. Let me say this and then I'm going to wrap this up. But now you rejoice in your boasting, and all such rejoicing is evil. Therefore, to him that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, to him it is sin. You boasting. Talking about what you do. You rejoicing in your boasting. Oh, I've got this. I've done this. I've mastered this. And I've done that. And I've got these degrees. And I've got that degrees. And I've got this house. And I've got this car. And I've got this finances. And I got this woman. And I got this man. When the Bible says, rejoice, but now you rejoice in your boastings, which means you boasting about things that ain't going to bring you no long-term benefit, no eternal benefit. And you might got some benefit here in the earth, right? And don't get it all twisted, because I already know some of y'all saying, well, what you trying to say? We shouldn't have our own, we shouldn't ask God, but that's not what I'm saying. He says, now you rejoice in your boasting. You boasting about everything else but the Lord. You boasting about everything else when we should be boasting and the fact that he died for us and that he's given us not just another chance, not just a second chance, but he's given us chance after chance after chance to get our life in alignment with his will, so that when that time comes and we have to give an account, like we saw in that clip, when we have to give an account for our life, when we slip into eternity, that we will face because we will face a living God, just in case you didn't know, right? When we slip into eternity, that he will be able to look at us and say, well done, my good and faithful servant. Enter thou into the joy of the Lord. You don't want to be that one that gets in his presence and he said, get away from me. I never knew you. But Lord, haven't I built all this stuff in your name? Haven't I done this? Haven't I built, all these different things? Haven't I done this in your name? Haven't I done that in your name? And he's going to say, get away from me. I never knew you. The worst thing in the world is to be married to somebody, right? And they don't know what you want. And you're married and they're trying to give you stuff that you don't want. And they think they know you. They haven't studied you. They haven't figured out what you want, because you got to study folks to know what they like and don't like, right? It's a disappointing thing if somebody bring you something that you don't like. Well, I like gold and you bring me silver. Well, I like fruit baskets and you come and bring me something different. I am a vegetarian and you come and bring me a steak. I'm trying to eat right and you bringing me a whole bunch of sweets. You haven't studied what I like. And that's how it is sometimes with God. We haven't studied to show ourselves approved unto God, right? We haven't worked enough to not be ashamed to rightly divide what is true and what isn't. We have not spent time in his presence, not realizing that reading and studying the word is what brings us to him. In John 5:9. The word of God brings us to him. So your studying with God doesn't end at the pages of this book. It doesn't end at these pages. It ends or just begins because it leads you to the one who is the living word. So I hope that really encourages you guys. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. If you guys have any questions, any comments or remarks, and I'll be here for a few seconds to answer any questions or anything you want to ask me while I'm here live. If you want to come on and share your thoughts, that will be my new thing that I'll be doing, is just to check in 2025. Is allowing you guys to come on and share your thoughts and reactions to how I feel. I'm going to go ahead and play this quick video, and I'll be right back after this. Thank you guys so much for joining. If you are watching me on a replay, y'all make sure you go back and watch the beginning of the video. Watch that clip. That clip is powerful. Make sure you call up your girlfriends and tell them Sisterhood Check-In is on the air, and I'll be right back after this. All right, y'all, it's about that time now. She's a woman of God. She's a woman of grace. She's a woman of the marketplace. She's a woman of God. She's a woman of... All right, y'all, it's about that time now. She's a woman of God. She's a woman of grace. She's a woman of the marketplace. She's a woman of God. All right, and I am back for final words and thoughts. I haven't seen anybody's comments. But if you do have any questions or comments, please put it in the comments and I will definitely respond to you. I'm getting ready to go. Yeah, I'm getting tired. These lights is hot. I just wanted to kind of come on here and be a blessing and encourage you guys. I hope you guys had an amazing new year. I know that I did. I didn't really go out and do a whole lot. I stayed in the house and planned with my family, and it was a blessing. I enjoyed it very, very much. And I got a chance to get perspective on a lot of things in life. A lot of things happened, a lot of transitions happened, a lot of things changed in 2024. But it just caused me to kind of open my eyes to see things as they are and not the way I wanted them to be. And so I've learned a lot in this year, in 2024, and I am committed to making sure that a lot of these lessons that I learned that I can change the lessons that I learned in 2025 and not have to go through and go through these same lessons again. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. It's been an amazing Friday evening. I'm about to go wrap my head up, take me a shower, and I'm about to get me some sleep and spend the rest of the evening with my daughter on her 8th birthday. I'm glad that you guys are continuously supporting me. Thank you so much for those that continue to support me every year, every Friday, whether you watch me once a year, once a month. I appreciate it all. To God be the glory for everything that he's done through Sisterhood Check-In. And if Sisterhood Check-In has changed your life, please let me know and I will talk to you. Oh, before I end, if you would like to be a guest on Sisterhood Check-In, make sure you go to sisterhoodcheckin.com and fill out the Be a Guest tab. And that way you can, I can check out your story. And we can go from there. If you also are wanting to be a sponsor, if you want to be a sponsor or partner with us on Sisterhood Check-In this year, I am opening up for other sponsors. If you want to be a part of that, go to sisterhoodcheckin.com and hit partner with us and fill out and put the information there, and we'll go ahead and get you on if your product or service is suitable for Sisterhood Check-In broadcast. So thank you so much for watching. I'm out. Peace. Bye. I'll see you guys on next week. Have an amazing weekend. Don't forget, let it go.